going on, everybody? We're back again with another video, and in this video I wanted to explain to you guys why I'm not a big fan of manual safeties. Now there are some exceptions, we'll get into that a little bit later, but I'll give you an example of some manual safeties. Alright, so this firearm right here is my 1911. It's a Kimber. Has a few manual safeties on it, okay? The most obvious one is going to be this thumb safety right here. So it goes up, the gun you can't pull the slide back, and the trigger doesn't do anything, right? Just to show you that the gun actually fires. Yep, just to show you so you don't think the gun's messed up. So that is a safety right there, right? And then the other one, as you can see, is a grip safety. So what this thing does is it prevents the trigger. It prevents the trigger from working as long as the grip safety is not depressed. So you grip it, pull the trigger, boom. But if you don't push this down, doesn't work. Push it as hard as you can. I'm pulling as hard as I can. It's not working. So those are the two manual safeties, and even you can put it down here and it'll still work. See what I'm saying? So the grip safeties, I prefer not to have them on my defensive firearms, but honestly, they're not the worst thing in the world. I've never had any issues depressing them, but I think 1911 grip safeties as a whole are just fine. I don't think anybody ever has a problem with these, but I'd rather not have them in a defensive pistol. As far as the thumb safety goes, I think the thumb safety is even worse as far as, you know, I'll take a grip safety over a thumb safety any day, because essentially with a thumb safety, you know, with 1911, now this is how they're carried. So, you know, you don't carry a 1911 without the safety on. That's just because the trigger's light and stuff. So, but essentially, now I'm lefty, but I'll show you on the right hand, because this is a right hand gun. You carry it like this, and when you draw, you take it off, and then you aim and fire. That's just one step that you don't need to take when you're carrying something like a Glock. So see, this Glock has no safeties. This is a slide stop. See, no safeties whatsoever on this gun at all. It's very basic. Now I will say this gun has 3 internal safeties. It has a firing pin safety, a drop safety, and a trigger safety. Now some people consider this trigger safety a manual safety. I don't, because in order to fire the gun, you gotta pull the trigger. This is essentially a drop safe thing. This is so when the gun drops, the trigger can't go back, you know? So I don't consider this a manual safety. It might be technically because you're manually depressing it, but what you're doing is what guns are supposed to do. Pull the trigger and it fires. But whereas a manual safety like these, I guess you can argue that with a grip safety as well, but with a gun like a Glock, you can literally fire it like this. It might cause a malfunction though, because you're limp wristing it. But anyway, the main reason I'm not a fan of manual safeties on firearms is because it's an extra step. It's just that simple. It's more that could possibly go wrong. You know, now I understand we've been dealing with firearms with safeties for a long time, and it's never been an issue. I understand that. But I've also seen situations where people either aren't trained, and I understand it. The way I would put it is this way. Manual safeties, you need to train to naturally take it off. Like, I'm talking every time you draw, you take it off. You got to do it so much, and it has to be so second nature to you that when you draw the pistol, you automatically do it without thinking. Otherwise, if something goes down where you have to take your pistol out and use it, you might forget it's on, and that little bit of time that it takes to take it off when you forget could cost you your life. So something like this, while, you know, contrary to popular belief, people think that, oh, if you're a beginner, you need a gun with a safety. No, you don't. As long as you're taught proper gun safety, firearm safety handling, you don't need a gun with a manual safety. Now, another example of a manual safety that's a little bit different, but it's still a safety, is my Beretta 92A1. Now this one has the manual safety on there. You could see it on your side, but I have it on my side too. When you see the red, that means it's ready to go. This gun, while it is a safety, it's actually designed to be mainly a decocker. So let's say you put it around in the chamber, right? You pull it down, it goes forward safely. This does not fire the gun. Then you push it back up. That way, the safety's off, because this will be a safety I actually would approve of, because you know what? You don't need to keep it on. While you can, you don't need to, because of the heavy trigger. You know what I mean? So the heavy trigger, it's extremely heavy. I don't know what the pound and pull is, but it is really heavy. You're not accidentally pulling that at all. And a child would not be able to pull this, especially a baby. Like, no fucking way. So this is a safety I would not mind carrying at all, like, or just having on a defensive gun, because you're not required to keep it on. It's actually designed for you to not keep it on. Like I said, I prefer guns just without them. Now, if I do have a gun with a safety and it's not a 1911, let's say it's like any of your Smith & Wessons or like your Taurus guns that have safeties, I just don't use them. Like, I've had the Taurus G2C. I did a review on that. I carried that gun and without using the safety, because I didn't need it. Now, here's the exceptions, okay? On your rifles, long guns, right? The reason why I would like to have a safety on a long gun is they don't have holsters for these, right? With a pistol, you get a holster that actually covers the trigger guard. With a rifle, you just have a sling. So anything can get inside here and fire it if you don't have a safety, hypothetically. So typically on a rifle, you'll keep the safety on until you need to use it. So that's why I would like to use an AR-15 or anything like that with a safety. Some people say, oh, well, you know, there's more to go wrong. You're right. But there's also more to go wrong when you don't have the trigger guard governed on one of these things. Even if you have it slung against your body, a twig or a stick or anything can get inside here. So that's the exception. Long guns, shotguns, or anything like that. But pistols, I will rather take a gun without a safety, because it's less to deal with. The simplicity is awesome. Some people have the notion that, like I said, if you're a beginner, you need a safety. And I get that mindset when you're not understanding and you're not used to firearms, because you want to be as safe as you can. But once you realize you're taught firearm safety correctly, you don't need a safety on a pistol. You really don't. You know, so that's just basically it. If you have your different opinions, just let me know in the comments. And I know some people are like, you know, oh, you know, there's been safeties on this gun and this gun and never had an issue. I understand that, because you train on it. But if you don't train on pistols with safeties, there could be issues. I've seen countless videos of people, you know, not having a safety on it. They're not trained. So if you're faced with a situation that your life is on the line, a lot's going on in your head. You don't have time to be like a lot of the times you'll draw and just click, oh shit, now the safety, you know what I mean? Whereas with a Glock, all I'm doing is pulling that bitch out and it's ready to go when I have my sights on target. There's no flipping on safeties or not. And all the safeties in a Glock are, as you're pulling the trigger, they're all basically deactivated, and then once you're done, then they go back on, basically. So it's inherently a safe gun. With these, you want to train, you know, when you're aiming, the safety's on, and then safety's off when you're ready. You know what I mean? That's how you typically train with a rifle, you know. So that way, when you have to point it, you're already ready to go. If you're on the trigger, safety off. That's exactly how you train it. So, but yeah, that's my opinion on that. Just not a fan of safeties, and a lot of people around me kind of agree, you know. So, and that's it. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mark's channel, and Centerfire Podcast, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.